I was curious what you feel like having your names on the field. What does that say about your legacy and your lasting impact here at Texas?
Go ahead, Ricky. You the youngest.
you know, I think it's still sinking in. What I'm most proud of is really how it happened. I'm sure as I get older and I keep seeing my name on the field, or just going through the season and actually seeing it might have a different effect on me. But I'm just proud of the guys and how they spoke up, and proud of Dar and proud of the university. And I feel more like, of course I had to, do the stuff on the football field, but it was a group effort, and I'm a team guy. So I like it.
Earl?
I believe, just the Jamel family, I think that says a testament to where three people that didn't even dream of knowing each other in their lifetimes. And like I met Joe the year I won the state championship in Tyler, and we coach Royal, and I start seeing him more and more, and then I get drafted to Houston. I know Dar, Randall, and Rob, and we was all at the university at the same time, just about. So I think it says a testament to them with all this going on in America and in our world. That it took a family like them to step up and our young men at the university and says, we want to be different. And that's what makes the University of Texas the university, because that family stepped up and said, let's do something different. It's time. And I take my hand off to them, just like Ricky, for doing that.
Brian, go ahead.
Hey guys, I appreciate y'all doing this. Thank you very much. Earl, Ricky, I haven't seen you guys talk about this yet, or maybe I've missed it. But the Eyes of Texas has a different meaning now, it seems like, to some people. Knowing what you know now, how do you feel about the school song, and what do you think the athletes should do about it today?
That's an interesting question, and it's, we're living in a very polarizing time where people are having strong opinions. And I think anytime we move into a time of crisis like this, people's opinions, I think, flare a little bit. And, I think it's important to understand our history and to understand where the song came from. But I think it's more powerful to transform the meaning of the song and the definition of the song, rather than trying to erase our history like it never existed.
I do believe this about that song. I think there's so much other things at that university that can be done. And I'm not saying anything bad or great about the song, but I will say this. I think there's some other things we should put our attention on that need to be changed other than that song. I took a lot of pride in going to that university and listening to that song over the years and when I was there, because I felt as though I was at the university. And if you head towards California, it takes you a day and a half to drive out of this place called Texas.
True story.
You go to New York or Philadelphia, you'll be in somewhere else in about an hour, 10 minutes or 30 minutes. But yes, the Eyes of Texas even included Tyler, Texas, because it's a part of Texas. And I just felt like, hey, you think you got your eyes on us, we got your eyes on you too. And what happens at this university changes the world. And I'm part of that because I'm at this university. And I'm proud of that song. I think that there's a lot of things that can be done other than that song, in my opinion. I just believe that the Eyes of Texas stands for something. And I think those young people going to the university as they get older, they would understand. But I still believe there's things to be done in this world other than that song.
Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, thanks for making the time. Can you begin to put into words how much your names on the field at DKR will inspire and empower current and future athletes at the University of Texas, and how much it will almost just educate everybody? The fact that two great Black players and men are on that field from here on out.
Well, to me, I think, we're not going to be on this earth too much longer, Earl and myself, but hopefully what exists is not just the name on the field, but the story behind it. And I think that's so much more powerful. Like, when I spoke to the players, for me, I said, yeah, I'll come back here and my kids and their kids will come back and they'll see their name on the stadium. But I want all of our, kids and their kids and their kids when they come back to look at Earl and my name on the field and realize that they had something to do with it. And we're just representatives. But if it's just about Earl and myself, to me, that's not enough. I think the story has to survive with it, not just our names.
I agree with Ricky. I think it's more than just having your name on the field. When I think about it, I think about my grandkids, Reagan, Messiah, Cheyenne, and young people that's gonna grow up in this great state we live in and have an opportunity to come to this university. They're gonna see two men, young Black men, that not only came to this school, but also got an education from this school and did the right things in life. And I think that if you do the right things in life, whether you go to University of Texas or not, you do the right things, that let them know that they can dream too, that something like this could happen to them. And I believe it's a point in our life to where things are changing. Unfortunately, it had to get to where George Floyd lost his life and the other people, Trayvon Martin and all those people, for people to finally see that it's time to do something different. But because of that, I think when young athletes and young people want to come to the university, and when they say, oh yeah, Delroy Stadium, oh yes, but Earl Campbell and Ricky Williams football field, those are two young men that came to this university that had a dream, just like you do, of doing something different in life, and they did it, and look what a gift they got for doing that.
Yeah.
Somebody saw something we did in life and thought it was the Jamel family thought it was a great idea to take the dad's name off and put it on there, not because we were just football players, but because we went to that university and we did some positive things in life even now.
Yeah, and the elephant in the room is that, Texas has a bit of a reputation for African-American players. And the fact that the university moved so quickly to get this done, I think to me that's what speaks volumes and hopefully does a lot to change that reputation.
Chris, go ahead.
Hey guys, when you guys were told that you were going to get your names put on the field, it was a different time than it is now, honestly, in just a matter of a couple of months. And seeing what the players did recently and wanting to cancel practice over the Jacob Blake shooting in Minneapolis and talk about that and figure out more of what they can do, has seeing the way the team is still responding and seeing the way the country is still responding and reacting and evolving and trying to learn and grow, does that change how you feel now about the field being named after you versus when you first found out that they were going to honor you that way?
For me, there's two things. I think one is this has been an important time to reflect and really take an honest look at our history and the current state of things. And I think as things have evolved, I think we're moving into part two, where it's time to take that information and move forward with it. And I think at the time when this announcement was made, there was a lot of stories in the news about people tearing things down, tearing down statues, getting rid of things. And this was really, to me, the first time that a group took a step forward to move forward and to do something about it. And I think, moving this now to football, to let's see this adversity and the team coming together, having to do with things that have nothing to do with football. Let's see if that's really helped this team come together and actually help people move forward by using that togetherness to win and to show that there is something positive coming out of this. And to me, again, I'm more fascinated with the story of it all. And if the team comes together, all these changes are made on the university, and the team surprises people and has more success than people expected, it's just a beautiful story.
I will say when this was first happening and when it happened, I mean, when I got a call from an individual that did what Rick and I did, and he also was raised in the state of Texas, so he knows the history of the university and all that. And this guy was named Harry Dickinson. And I'm sure there's thousands and thousands of other people like Harry Dickinson, but when he called to congratulate me, he said, I can't believe University of Texas did something like that. And that's what I've heard over and over again. And I think that's, like Ricky said, it's the test of the times we live in, and the young men stepping up, and the Jamel family. I think it's something that's gonna not only be here today, tomorrow, next year, I think from years to come. And this is gonna make a difference. And not only some people that comes to this university, but some people that have heard the negative things about the university. It goes to show that at least they're trying to do something about what has happened in the past.
Kirk, go ahead.
Yeah, for both of you guys, I wonder if you're following all these stories about player empowerment, and wonder where y'all think that movement could go in the future nationally. And to squeeze in one football question, is Bijan Robinson the next Ricky Williams or Earl Campbell?
I hope so. Yeah, it looks like he's off to a good start. It's got that feel, at least to me. Yeah.
It's gonna take a lot of hard work to get to where Ricky and myself has been. I mean, and when I say hard work, I'm talking about when your friends want to do different things and fun things, and you make that decision to say, hey, I can't, man, I got to do this. And you be talked about and laughed at, but you got to stick with what you believe in. A lot of people talk about being success, and I would say in athletics, but I've grown to realize that it's the same price you pay in athletics, you pay that same price in business. And the good Lord blesses you, but it takes a lot of hard work. And I won't lie about it, to be a Ricky Williams or an Earl Campbell, you have to go through a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to see a player union or something, or what do you think it is for the future?
I think it's coming. I think it's coming. Yeah.
I think I've heard a lot of people talk about this, but and I don't watch much television. My deal is I turn my TV on and I only want the light in the room, so I put it on mute and I'm reading. But one night I heard a guy say something named Charles Barkley. He says, we've marched, we talked, we jumped, we burned. Now it's time to do something, action. And I think that's the point we are at now. And I think that's what our athletes are saying. Let's do something about it instead of just standing and kneeling. It's time for action. And I agree with what Ricky said. I think there's something happening with that union.
Hey, Chris, go ahead.
Hey, so we've talked so much about reaction of like your family and of other people. What's been the reaction from the players on the team, the black players on the team, the white players on the team to get to what are they telling you about how they feel about getting to play on a field that's named after the two of you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You know, the time that Earl and I spent with the players, they seem to be satisfied with the fact that they put their voice out there and it was heard and there was a response. And, you know, things have grown, things have evolved, they've moved forward. And again, I think it's a great statement, but like Earl just said, it's about what we do from here. And so hopefully it means something more than just a token. And again, I think what we're not talking about, it wasn't just the changing of the name of the field, but there were other things that were also asked for by the team, and there's other ways that the university responded. And I think that's part of the story. It's not just about Earl and I, it's about the guys speaking up and the university responding.
I do believe that there's some great things that the young people doesn't know that's happening behind the scene that I know a little bit about. And I think the university is proving to them that their voices are being heard and they are doing something about it. I will say this, that that university is pretty big, and you know when you hear statements about what happens here, it changes the world. And I think by them doing that football field, that's one of the things it's a positive outlook. I think that had an impact. What the Jamel family did, I think that had an impact on America, what we're doing, because people heard that, because so many of us as minorities, I won't lie, Ricky know that tradition. He heard about Texas before he got here. So did I hear it, and Roosevelt, Julius Woody heard it. But we are the people that came here and made a choice and made a difference in coming to school here, trying to let our people know that we are welcome here. And if you do the right things, you can come to this university too and do the right things. And I just believe that in the future, we're going to see so much other great things happening. That those young people at the university, they spoke, their voice was heard. And I think Della Conte, the president, and people in charge at that university are doing some things and they're going to show these young people that they heard their voices and they realize that it's time for that change to come. We have some great young men at that university. I have a chance to sit down with them and talk to them, and they're all very educated. They're very sensitive about what's going on. They know what's going on. It's just amazing to me that they're so in tune about what's going on. I talk to them on a regular basis, and they're very concerned about every aspect at that university, and they know dominance. You can't fool these kids now. You heard the saying that when a kid tell you something, you better listen because they know something, and that's true with our athletes.
Brian, you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to just keep on that same thought, Earl. I mean, you know, I'm just a plain old white guy. I mean, I have no idea what it's like for you and Ricky and y'all's experience. But just, you know, how do you describe to other people what it was like, you know, different generations at the same place? You know, because I'm sure that Caden Stearns, Joe Osai, you know, future black athletes, I mean, there's going to be idiots out there they got to jack with too. And so what do you tell people about how it was and versus now how it is and how it should be?
Go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, like for me, I had a lot of curiosity about what it was like when Earl was in school, because especially coming from California, coming to Texas was huge culture shock for me. And I couldn't even imagine 20 years prior. And, you know, I think it's one of those things that as I am aging, I realize that this is my first time being 43 and looking at the world from this different perspective. And what I'm left with is just an appreciation for how much things have changed, you know, and that the players do have a voice. And it helps me, you know, feel good about that somehow I opened doors or made that easier for them. And when I think about Earl and what Earl has meant to the university, and I think we have to be honest that it was really the introduction of African Americans that have some actual value to people was through their football team. And I think Earl's success and just his good heart and the kind of guy he is really helped people be more comfortable with African Americans. And I think, you know, Earl said this before, that when you come to a football game, there's different religions, different races, different everything, and they're all cheering for the same team. And so sports is something that brings people together. And Earl and I hope that I've done somewhat of that, is just help bring people together and concentrate on what we share in common and not so much on our differences. And just seeing this next generation of African American athletes and what their legacy is and what they're doing, I feel like it's just part of what we started.
I believe this, that, you know, it's no secret I come from a family of 6 boys and 4 girls, and raised by my mother. My father died. But I wasn't raised to know any different. I mean, and I think that's what people need to understand, that 95% of the Black people, we're not raised to feel a difference, whether you're an athlete, whether you're in the band, whether you're a farmer, whatever, a banker, we're just not raised to do. So when I came here, I'd heard these stories about Darryl Royal at the barbershop, and everybody at Tyler just swore I was gonna flunk out, but they didn't know what was on the inside of me because I never told anybody. And the thing I've always done in my life is I made an effort to let that other human being know that I wanted to be a friend, but also that you're gonna respect me. Regardless if I came to this university with a sack and a Brooks' bag and all my clothes just in one little bag, you know, it wasn't no different. I wanted to compete. I wanted to let you know that I was the best to come down the pipe, and I was gonna work hard at what I wanted to do. And if you want to be in that line, then get in line, because I'm gonna compete with you and be the best. And I look at my life the same way. And I think our young people today is saying, hey, we went to school with Diane and Derek. We want the opportunity that they have. We deserve that. And I think that this university has got to show those people that you're right, you deserve it. And that's what America is based on now, is an opportunity regardless of who you are, what gender you are, what you stand for. If you can do the job, go in that front door and do your job. I got to accept you because you're a human being.
Hey, Ricky, Earl, we're lucky to have you here today, so I don't want to let you go without having you share a few of your, you know, memories from playing on that field and what you think about when you see Campbell Williams Field.
As far as I'm concerned, that was a guy I played football on our football team. He was from Westlake High School. There was 2 of them. One of them was named Brad Shear, but the other guy that this guy was our leader on the team. He didn't have a lot of talent, but he worked so hard well, you didn't have to do nothing but say, hey man, I want to go to war with you. You're my man. That guy's named Rick Ingram. I never felt more welcome at this university until Rick Ingram took me by the hand and said, hey, Campbell, you're one of us, you know, you're our man. And Rick and I are the best of friends, and God knows I love him. He did so much for me in my lifetime. And that's an illustration, because I didn't know Rick, he didn't know me, and we was on the same team, and we're the best of friends now. We've done so many things together. And that's what we got to do in America like that. You know, 2 people that didn't know each other, in this old age, y'all are still a friend, still the best. And when I think about that football field, I think about Rick Ingram saying, Heisman my ass, because one day I wasn't running so well on the field. He came to the huddle, he said, Heisman my ass. And that let me know to kick it up a notch. But we're the best of friends. Rick Ingram, I owe my life to Rick because he taught me so much at this university.
So when I think of the field, I think I have 2 memories. The first is the last game of my junior season. It was a rainy day. We were playing Kansas, and it was a rough season. So I think there's only like 13,000 fans in the stands. And I thought that very well could have been my last time playing on that field. And those 13,000 fans, you know, made me feel so welcomed. It had a lot to do with coming back for my senior year. And then obviously, you know, breaking the record in my last home game on that field, crossing that end zone was also very special.
I think this, guys, I think all of you all, if you would do myself a favor, and I know Ricky would say the same thing. We both take our hat off, not only to the University of Texas, but I honestly wish you guys would really let that Jamel family know what a difference Rob, Randy, and Dar stepped up and made a difference in getting this full field named Earl, Campbell, and Ricky Williams after their great father, who did so many great things. I mean, Ricky and I did some things, but that Joe Jamel and his family did a lot of great things for that university, and his wife, Janice. And from the bottom of the Campbell's heart and the Williams family, we thank them very much for stepping up and making a difference in our lives. How about that, Ricky?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I was going to say, Ricky, Joe obviously was and the family's important to you too. So do you want to say a few things about them?
Well, I mean, anyone who knows Dar is he's also an attorney, and he behind the scenes he really took this on, and he shared the idea with his brothers, and they were on board, and Dar was serious with the university, and so the quick version of the story is Dar heard what the players were saying, and it got him to start thinking about what he can do. And he decided to talk to the university and made the suggestion for the name change. And he really made sure that it got done. And it just goes to show, I think, what the bigger picture of being a Longhorn is, that it's not about, what you do on the field and your stats, but it really is about the connections you make and the family of Longhorns out there. And to know that what starts here changes the world. And anywhere you go in the world, you're going to find Texas X's that have your back.
And the last thing was, these guys weren't there when you were talking to the team in mid-July, but just the transformation of the stadium. I know you guys were kind of in awe of the south end zone coming up, and just what the stadium looks like today versus when you were there, Earl, and then when you were there, Ricky.
Well, yeah, I was blown away. I live in LA, so I hadn't seen the transformation of the field, and I'm excited to see what it looks like now. But my first experience of that stadium really was having to run the stairs for being late for the conditioning test, and so I have an appreciation for the stadium, every single step of it, and it's been amazing to watch it grow and expand, and again to feel like we had something to do with that.